Mike Tyson said this on the podcast. He said, discipline is doing something you hate, but doing it like you love it.
That's right.
Yeah. So when you love it, it's not really discipline.
No, it's not.
It's obsession.
And
there's a different thing to that.
That's what I was telling you about when I saw your picture out there of Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, I was an artist. I really liked to do art. And I remember the first time I became obsessed was when I was doing this drawing of Jimi Hendrix. And it went on for about a week. And my parents were like, "What are you doing?" And I was just obsessed with getting it correct. It had to be absolutely correct. And I did get it corrected. It was pretty amazing. And I gave
Do you have it?
No, I always give my stuff away.
Do you have a photo of it or anything?
No. This was like pre-cell phones.
Oh.
So I gave it to my best friend. And
cool.
I don't regret it.
That's cool.
Yeah. But I mean, it was the experience though that was the best part of it.
The reason why this podcast is called the Joe Rogan Experience is because I think Jimi Hendrix is a religious figure.
He is. He absolutely is.
The guy died at 27, which when I was 27, I was a fucking moron. I had never done anything good. This guy had transcended the normal boundaries of what music was and had tapped into something, whatever it was. But when you listen to Voodoo Child, to this day, I've listened to that song thousands of times. But like if I'm on my way to go do something cool and I listen to that song like loud in my car, it's just like he tapped into something that was just out of this realm, inaccessible to the average person that plays a guitar, inaccessible to the average artist. He hit some crazy vibration. And I've always got that feeling when I listen to his stuff. It's always like moved me in a very weird way where I'm just completely captivated, like immersed in the sounds, immersed in his music.
Me too. So he knew that he was doing that. So he, as you know, I'm sure you know this, but he had a guitar when he was 5. And he was so good at it. He was immediately like he streamed sacred information through his music, and he knew he did. He called it his electric church.
Yeah.
So he knew he did that, and how incredible. And yes, we can hear it.
Yeah.
And I think probably part of the reason I felt that when I listened to his music, and I somehow put that into that picture, that drawing that I made, and it was a beautiful experience. And that was, it sounds so strange, but that's part of the reason why I was interested in studying religion and things like that, because of that experience.
Yeah, that you're tapping into something that's higher than normal consciousness.
Yes, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's exactly what Plato said it was. It's you do it for its own sake. You don't do it for anything else. You do it because of it. You don't do it because after this I'm going to make up a lot of money, or after this it'll make my parents happy, or after. You don't do it for those reasons. You do it for in and of itself.
Well, the people that I know that do it for those reasons, I'm going to be famous, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, they never make it. There's something about it. They just don't. They just don't. Maybe some of them will become pop stars. Like someone will plug them into the right songwriter and the right producer, and they'll figure it out. But it'll never be transcendent. It might be catchy. It might be okay. But it's not Hendrix.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. That kind of what we like to call genius. Like what is that? But it's not. I mean, clearly it's him. He's a vessel. He's a receiver, an antenna, whatever he is. But he's getting something from a higher state.
No doubt.
And the wildest thing what I always want to tell people about Hendrix and a lot of the particularly impactful people from the 1960s is that you have to understand how different the 60s were from the 50s. Like, the difference between 2014 and 2024 is nil. There's very little difference other than the ubiquitous technology, AI, things that are much more powerful than they ever were before, the impact of social media. But there was an impact of social media even 10 years ago, right? There's something about the 60s that were very different than the 50s, and I connect it to psychedelic use. Because all of those people were doing psychedelics, all of them, all those transcendent people, all the Beatles. When the Beatles, from their early days to the psychedelic days, it was like a completely different band, like completely different style of music.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah,
Completely different impact. There was something about it. What had happened in the 1960s was a stunning revolution in culture.
yes,
And it's hard for us to understand it because we weren't teenagers when that was happening. You know, I wasn't even born when Hendrix was in his prime, or I was just, a baby. When you listen to that now, it's hard to put it into context of how revolutionary that was.